We're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Webby versus everybody. Come on, let's go.
Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 99th Dinking Around.
Oh, yeah, episode number 99.
Webby, I got to ask you, did anything cool happen in the year 1999?
As a matter of fact, that is the year that you and I graduated high school.
That's right. I can't believe that was pretty much 26 years ago right now. We graduated high school. Feels like it was just yesterday, but it wasn't. We're old, officially.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, but because this is episode 99, that means the next one is the big 100. Can you believe it?
I can believe it, and I'm super excited about it. Guys, it's official. We're going to be doing it live. We're going to do it live.
That's right. And we actually have pretty much all the details. Should I just spill the beans now? Should I let everybody know what to expect and where they can expect it?
Well, let's go with when is it?
Well, it is happening Thursday, June 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to happen on location. Well, Eddie will be at his home studio, but I will be on location at one of our all-time favorite places to play pickleball, especially here in Michigan, and that is Wolverine Pickleball in Ann Arbor. That is right. I will be on location doing it live in the group with a bunch of pickleballers all around me. There's going to be a tap wall of beer behind me. I mean, it's going to be very cool. The closest thing we've done to this is when we were live at Perrin Brewing a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, that was the summer of 2019.
Wow. So that was, if my math is correct, that was like 6 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I don't even know if I remember how to go live. How do we even do it? Is there a go live button here? I got to figure that out and push that button somehow.
You just press the go live button and then it just automatically broadcasts wherever we want it to broadcast. And speaking of broadcast, like where can people tune into this? Where is this going to be going? It's going to be on our YouTube channel for sure.
Let's just say YouTube. That's the best way to be able to find us.
I like it. So we're going to go live on YouTube, and something that I think you are all going to be very excited about, our good friends over at Volair Pickleball, they agreed to give away not one, not two, but 3 Volair Pickleball paddles throughout the episode. We will reveal how you can possibly win those paddles during the episode, so stay tuned for the big blowout 100th episode of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby.
I'm super excited about it. I'm also excited to be able to plug our good friends over at Volair Pickleball. Guys, let me tell you something. Their paddles are great. So great that Webby and I started playing with them before we even partnered with them because they're good. And they have a paddle that will fit any of your playing styles out there. I don't know. Is there anything else we can say about Volair that we haven't said 100 times, Webby?
I feel like there's not too much more we can say. I know I love the Mach 2 Forza. I love the Control 2 Forza. And then lately, especially when I play singles, I've been loving this. This is one of their new hybrid paddles. This is the V.1F wide body. And if anybody has seen the most recent episode of Webby versus Everybody, I played very well. I played very well using that paddle. That is my current go-to paddle when I play singles. It's shaped the same way as the Mach 2 Forza and the Control 2 Forza, but it's a little heavier. It's got a ton of grit, and I absolutely love it.
That's great. Guys, I'm telling you, if you go to Volair.com and use coupon code PB for life, not only are you going to get a great paddle, you're also going to get what, Webby?
You are going to get yourself 10% off your order, and it's also going to show us some support in the process, so thank you very much.
And we appreciate it. Volair.com, coupon code PB for life.
That's right, but man, I have a very important question for you.
What in the world is in that drink? What you got in that drink?
Well, Webby, tonight I'm going to be sipping on a beer that I brewed a very long time ago. I honestly don't even remember when I brewed this, but I know it was before I moved to Florida, and that was in the year 2014. So it's at least 11 years old. And this is a Citra IPA, as you can tell by the bottle cap here. This is the bottle that it came out of. I have no idea how this is going to be, but it has been sitting in my fridge for a very long time. It's very cloudy. Yeah, we're gonna see how this is. But anyway, what are you gonna be drinking tonight?
Well, anybody who tuned into the previous episode, you may recall that I picked up a variety pack of beer from Three Floyds Brewing, and I'm going to drink another beer from that variety pack. And this is one of my favorite pale ales. This is Zombie Dust IPA. I absolutely love this beer. I would put this towards the top of my list of all-time favorite IPAs, and I am very excited to be sipping on this tonight.
Well, cheers, my friend.
Cheers. And if you guys are drinking along with us, let us know what you're drinking in the comments below.
Oh, this is not good. This is not aged very well at all.
Oh, man. This, on the other hand, is very good. I love this beer and never disappoints.
Yeah, Zombie Dust is a good one. I'm bummed that I can't get it down here. But can you even get it in Michigan, or do you have to go to Indiana to get that still?
As of last year, we now can get it in Michigan. Before I could only get it if I went to Indiana or Chicago. But luckily, last year they did start distributing it to Michigan. So luckily, I can get it pretty much anytime I want now.
Great brewery. Speaking of great breweries, actually, this has nothing to do with great breweries. I gotta say, you have a shout out, right?
I do have a shout out. I actually want to do 2 shout outs. Actually, the first thing is more of an announcement. Today is a very special day because exactly 8 years ago was the first time I ever played pickleball.
Wow.
That's right. It is my 8th pickleball anniversary today. Can you believe it?
That's incredible, man. I cannot believe it. 8 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah. And it happened at Freedom Park in Canton, Michigan. I played with my wife and my 2 daughters. I made them come with me to try this game out because you had been raving about it, and I finally found a place that offered it. So I played it. I immediately fell in love, and the rest, as they say, is history. In fact, I just played there 2 days ago. That was my first time playing there this year. It was my first time playing outdoor pickleball of the year, and I'm glad to say that I got a chance to play there on the week of my pickleball anniversary. So today is a very, very special occasion.
Very nice. What else you have to shout out here?
But yeah, in regards to shout outs, I want to give a shout out to Wicked Pickle. They are a brand new pickleball facility that is not too far from where I live. They are in Westland, Michigan. They have 10 dedicated indoor pickleball courts. The lighting is great. The court surface is awesome. In fact, they're even working towards getting their liquor license. So eventually we'll be able to drink alcohol while there. They have a ping pong table there. Plenty of space and seating. It's a great facility. And I even had a chance to record an episode of Webby versus Everybody, the most recent episode that actually just dropped a couple days ago. It took place there. I challenged one of the owners there, and I played against Bill. And I got to tell you, he was a great player. It was probably one of the most, actually, I'm going to say it, it was the most intense match so far. The games went back and forth. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but you guys should definitely watch and see how it goes. But yeah, thank you to Wicked Pickle. Anybody in the Westland, Michigan area, you definitely want to check that place out.
Very nice. I can't wait to go up there this summer and check it out. But that's in the future. Do you know what time it is?
Now it's time for Memes of the Week. Yeah!
That's right. It's Memes of the Week. By far the hottest segment in all of pickleball podcasts. Webby, you're going to start it off today. What memes do you have for us this week?
Well, this one comes from our good friends over at Dink Different Pickleball, and this is called Dear Diary, I Suck.
Dear Diary, another terrible day of pickleball. I dumped a volley into the net when I should have let it bounce. I whiffed an easy overhead. I lost my shit in front of the whole park while playing what some people describe as a casual backyard family game. I got bagged more than 4 times. I blamed my paddle 7 times. Still can't do an Ernie. My mental health hit a new, surprising bottom. Got beat by someone 30 years younger and older than me. Made eye contact with my doubles partner after my 5th unforced error. Pretty sure I saw them mentally move me 3 slots down on their regular invite list. I can't wait to play again tomorrow. Love, me.
So relatable, man.
It is. It's so relatable. I love it. Great job, Igor. I love the Dink Different account. If you guys do not follow Dink Different on any of these social medias, especially Instagram, do yourself a favor and you're going to see great content like that. So Thanks again, Dink Different. What about you, Eddie? What kind of memes you got for us this week?
Well, Webby, I think that Memes of Pickleball they've done it again. They've absolutely done it again. This is incredible. I'm sure you've heard that there might be a little situation going on once again with Quang Duong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Memes of Pickleball had to get all over it. There's a few of them here. Let's go through them. Pickleball star Quang Duong has been suspended from a PPA and MLP event, as well as fined $50,000 for breach of contract after playing in an unsanctioned tournament. And as we all know, his handle that he usually goes by is Avatar Ball Bender, but this is Avatar Rule Bender. Quite fitting.
Yeah.
He's been in trouble before, which maybe we'll talk about a little bit later.
I'm not doing this.
I need one. My makeup going.
I'm not doing this.
I'm not doing it. He doesn't
I
care about
need
his
one. My makeup
contract.
going.
The Duong family attorney every few months. Quang Duong signs contract. Quang Duong breaches contract. Faces Quang sequences. Quang Duong. Quang Duong telling counterpart O that it was Bao who was playing in the tournament in Vietnam and not him.
This is the most HD shit ever. This is 4K. How did they get you in 4K?
That ain't me.
They got your ass on camera.
He was with Selkirk before. Now he's with Sipik. Sipik, hey, can I copy your homework? Selkirk, sure. Just switch it up a little so it's not too obvious. Okay. It's the same.
Oh my God.
Same thing. The exact same thing.
Literally a ripoff of Selkirk.
Yeah. Like copy, paste, change a couple of things. That's
Yeah.
unreal. It's not over yet. One more. It says Ben John takes an MLP match, the PPA. Eyes shut. Quang Duong plays in a hometown tournament, the PPA. Eyes wide open.
Wide open.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Great job once again, Memes to Pickleball.
Something else that I love is looking at my watch to find out that it's now time for...
Now it's time for Topics of the Week.
That's right. It's Topics of the Week, where every week Webby and I pick a topic, pickleball related. We talk about it. It's really not more complicated than that. And we want you guys to interact with us. So if you have comments, please throw them down in the comments below. We've been having some great conversations down in the comments section. We want to keep that going. So let us know what your opinions are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you just want to throw a weird comment out there? Go for it. We love all of them. And Webby, what is your topic this week?
Well, my topic ties in perfectly with the meme of the week that you chose. Right before we recorded this episode, the news broke that pro player Quang Duong was suspended and fined by the UPA for breaching his contract. And Quang played in a pickleball tournament in his home country of Vietnam without getting permission from the UPA first. And for those unaware, since Quang has a contract with the UPA, he is required to get approval from them before participating in any pickleball event that isn't a PPA or MLP event. And it was revealed what his punishment was for doing that, and he will be suspended from play in one PPA event. He will be suspended from play in one MLP event, and there is a $50,000 fine. And what I really want to discuss is, do you think that the UPA overreacted with their punishments that they gave to Quang?
Oh, man. This is the hard part because I'm trying to be unbiased about this, but I do have a bias towards Quang. I am not a fan of what he does off the court. And I also don't really know, is this Quang or is this Duke, his father, the one that he looks to after every single shot that he makes when he's out there playing pickleball? I don't know. But I do have to say, this is once again a question of, does UPA really care about the growth of the sport? To me, if you look into the details of this, it doesn't seem like what he went and did over in Vietnam that he's being fined for was anything that would be considered a competition towards PPA or MLP. So why is it such a big deal? Are they just making a statement that is guys, nobody can play any other team events, so that way it's not a slippery slope and they don't seem like they're playing favorites. I don't know, but I do think that this is quite excessive. However, since it's to Quang and he has a past with not really caring about contracts and breaching them, I could see why they might want to nip this in the bud, you know?
Yeah, and this is a tough one for me because, I mean, I'm kind of a rule follower. So if I sign a contract, I know like I need to follow what's in the contract that I signed. And so the fact that he breached the contract, I totally understand that there should be some punishments there. But he went to his home country of Vietnam, did a local tournament. In fact, I don't know if this is true, but people online, in fact, Quang himself posted about him doing a charity event in Vietnam. Like, do you happen to know, like, is it the charity event tournament that he did that's causing all this trouble? Because, I mean, to me, that's like, I don't know. I feel like they could make some type of exceptions. Like, if it's just like a charity event in his home country, it's a great way to grow the sport, a great way to get the word out there. If that's all that it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong if it was more than that. But I mean, if that's all that it was, I mean, to me, that does seem a bit excessive.
I don't disagree with you, but we also don't know what did Quang do to be able to notify the UPA, right? If this is as harmless or charitable of an event that he's trying to make it out to be, I have a hard time believing that any rational person wouldn't be able to hear him plead his case and then be able to say, okay, we'll allow it, but maybe we need a few concessions on the side. Maybe you wear branded UPA clothing. I don't really know. I don't know what the outcome is. But here's the thing. Based on Quang's behavior in the past, the fact that this is now a second major breach of contract, his first one with Selkirk, I would not be surprised if he just tried to hide this and not give a crap about communicating at all with anybody inside the walls of the UPA. And if that's the case, then yeah, I do think that they need to make a big deal about this.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So like Eddie said, this is not the first time Quang has had some issues with breaching contracts. He had an issue with Selkirk earlier this year, and in the middle of a match, Quang switched from a Selkirk paddle to a Proton paddle, and at that time, he was sponsored by Selkirk. So that was very odd right there, the fact that in a match, a televised match, he switched from his sponsored paddle to a totally different paddle from a totally different company, and Selkirk released this statement as a result of that happening, and it said, Quang Duong is under contract with Selkirk through April of 2025, following multiple contract breaches he made over the course of months, with the first dating back to September 4th, both on social media and at in-person events. We continued our efforts to work with him to find resolutions, in the hopes to prevent continuous and additional breaches, which included unauthorized auction of unreleased paddles and prototypes to the public. A cease and desist letter was sent electronically. Claims of serving Quang Duong on the pickleball court at a tournament or even in person are inherently false. At Selkirk, we believe in honoring and fulfilling agreements between us and our partners/athletes as a way to grow the game and build the sport. So that does show that he has a history of breaching contracts, and it also makes the memes from Memes of Pickleball even funnier once you know how that has all gone down. So yeah, that is not good. And it makes me wonder, like, do you think this could potentially hurt future sponsorship opportunities for Quang, knowing that he doesn't always go by the agreements that they agree upon in these contracts?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of the pickleball manufacturers, especially the American ones that have been around since pickleball was still a small sport, I think they're very ethical companies based on my interactions with them. And I think that Selkirk is an example of that. They seem to have a very ethical way of doing business. It's why they have such a huge problem with the UPA and their lack of ethics in the way that they run things. So I think that they probably were regretting their decision to be able to work with Quang after they saw his true colors. Again, you have to speak to the character of Quang at this point. So he knowingly breaches his contract with Selkirk by auctioning off paddles, playing with a competitor's paddle on live TV, basically rubbing their face in it. He then has this issue where he basically goes off and just does something that he knows is in breach of contract. It doesn't sound like he cares about anything or anyone other than Quang Duong. So no, if I was a sponsor, I would not be good with working with him. On top of it, now look at what he's doing with his new paddle company, Psychic, or however you pronounce it, right? It literally is a ripoff of Selkirk, his previous sponsor. So what else can you do at this point, Quang, to basically prove that you don't give a crap about honoring your contracts? Great. Guess what? Just like I've been telling the leaders of Major League Pickleball and UPA about going after all this BS drama that they're trying to promote and how they made their own bed, they have to sleep in it. Quang, you've made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. If sponsors don't want to touch you, I don't disagree with them.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with what you just said. I mean, you have to honor, when you sign a contract, you have to honor it. I mean, if you don't, I could see like maybe the first time it was just like, okay, I was naive. I didn't realize what I was doing. Lesson learned. I'll move on. I'll grow from it. But the fact that this happened again, I mean, this is a pretty high profile type of contract breach, a very public contract breach. So yeah, that is not a good look. Not a good look at all. But I do want to go back to something I asked earlier about if I thought that the punishment that the UPA gave him was a bit excessive. Mainly, I want to compare it to what the UPA did to Ben and Colin Johns when they walked out on the MLP Columbus event. So just so you guys know, this was an announcement from Major League Pickleball. It said, after formal review of the events of the MLP Columbus 2025 event, it has been determined that Ben Johns and Colin Johns were granted permission to withdraw from their remaining matches through on-site league approval. Ben Johns and Colin Johns have agreed to forfeit their event payouts for the 4 matches in which they did not appear. And according to the Dink, the collective amount of money that Ben and Colin forfeited for not appearing in the 4 matches is $78,000. And that breaks down to $18,000 for Colin and $60,000 for Ben. That's just the appearance fees that they would have gotten. So basically they weren't fined. They forfeited the appearance fees that they would have gotten had they stayed on for the event, which to me, that does not even really seem like a punishment. Yeah, you're not going to get paid for something you don't do. So it really, I don't know, to me, that wasn't a punishment. I guess Major League Pickleball and UPA are trying to say because they told Ben and Colin that they could leave, that it wasn't a breach of contract and stuff like that, to where they didn't do a harsher penalty. But I don't know, man. To me, walking away from an event that a lot of people paid to go to, they wanted to see the best players in the world, and 2 of the best just walked away and didn't play. I don't know. That's going to have a more negative impact on the UPA and MLP than Quang going to play in a tournament in the country that he's from. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like the punishments there balance out properly.
Can we recap Quang's punishments again? Because I definitely have a take on this, but I think it's important that we do a contrast to compare of them.
Yeah, so the punishments that were announced online were a suspension from play in 1 PPA event, suspension from play in 1 MLP event, and a $50,000 fine.
So going back to the Ben and Colin thing, I don't like what they did. I think it sucks. I think it's a reflection of what they actually think of Major League Pickleball. But the fact is that, and I've only heard speculations. I have not seen literal text messages, but from what I've heard, and MLP fully admits it, Ben and Colin notified probably Samir and told him, hey, like we're leaving. And he probably said something back that did not necessarily indicated like, yes, I approve this, but probably also didn't say anything of like, well, hold on, you're in breach of your contract if you do this. And so that's probably why they said, well, that was our screw up, so let's just have them, forfeit their money. So from that perspective, I think that they learned their lesson. Don't give any indication that it's okay to leave, right? Like that's a screw up. So it's kind of like MLP took the fall on that a little bit. And had they not, or maybe they said, no, if you do this, you're in breach of contract, my assumption it would have been a actual harsher penalty. So from that perspective, I think it's hard to contrast and compare these a little bit. But it does beg the question, is Quang a good enough player to get away with the crap he's trying to pull? Let's just say that UPA does play favorites, which, come on, like we know that they do. And honestly, for some of that, I kind of understand why they would.
Right.
Is Quang good enough to think that he's at the level of a Ben Johns? I mean, don't get me wrong, fantastic player, and he is changing the game, but he's not there.
Yeah, I just don't know where his mindset is for doing that. I know another thing, going back to Ben and Colin, another thing that people have questioned is, so like with Ben, he has a medical issue from a childhood injury that makes it to where like low light sometimes can impact his depth of field or whatever it was that they said, but that's not the case for Colin. So like why did Colin also have to leave? That I think that's a great question, because it kind of makes sense for Ben, but both Ben and Colin, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Connor Pardo said that's his one regret is letting Colin go in addition to Ben, because Ben had a medical reason, Colin didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Colin was looking for a reason not to play Major League Pickleball. That's the only thing I can really think happened there, right? It's like if you don't want to do something and then you have what you can justify in your head as a reason not to go, you capitalize on it. And that's what I think happened.
Yeah. But what do you guys think? Do you think that the penalties were deserved? I mean, I do think penalties were deserved for sure for Quang Duong in what he did, but were they excessive? Was it good enough? Was it not good enough? Should they have been even harsher? Let us know what you guys think. But that's my topic for this week. What about you, Eddie? What do you got?
Well, actually, it kind of transitions perfectly into what you brought up. And that is, we're around 4 years into having exclusive contracts for the PPA from the pro players. My question to you is it all worth it? Do these exclusive contracts, have they helped the game? Have they hurt the game? Is it neutral? Is it moving it forward? I don't know, but I want to have a conversation around it. So I guess my initial question to you is, what do you think? Do you think that those exclusive contracts have helped grow pro pickleball?
So I kind of touched on this a few years ago when this first happened. I understand why the PPA/UPA does the exclusive contract thing. They want to make sure that the best talent plays in their events and nowhere else. So I understand it. But in regards to, do I think it was worth it and do I think it has helped pro pickleball? I would say no. And the reason I say that is I think it's great when pro players go to different events like the US Open and things that are not UPA related. Even what Quang Duong did, I think it's awesome that he went to his home country. He participated in a charity event. He brought a big name. He's a local hero. I mean, I think it's awesome, the fact that Quang Duong played in that event and the fact that he got penalized for it. I mean, it's a legal matter. He breached his contract, whatever. But I love the fact that he was able to do something like that and bring some great high-level pickleball to his home country. And the fact that these exclusive contracts are preventing people from doing that, to me, that makes it not worth it and makes it bad for the sport of pickleball.
Yeah, you bring up some good points, right? I mean, obviously, when pickleball started exclusive contracts, the salaries were, I would say, probably 10%, 15% of what some of these players are making now. I don't know, maybe 30%, but they were a decent salary. They incentivized people enough to where they knew that if they played for the PPA, they could actually make a living out of this for so long. And it's still happening. Pickleball professionals need to supplement their income by doing other things. That's why you've also had a lot of full-time employees in certain high-level roles also be professional pickleball players. I think Andrea Coop and Matt Wright are great examples of that. They're both attorneys. That's a very demanding job, yet they still were able to put in the time to be able to play professionally. Well, this gave a pathway for players to be able to have a good life and still be able to play professionally, which then you would think, okay, that's going to lead to them being able to dedicate a lot of their time, where they're not playing by training. It's going to grow and elevate the sport. It's going to continue to make the sport look better because the level of play is higher. And I think that we're in the position we're in with the high level of play amongst these players, partially or mostly because of those exclusive contracts. So I think from that perspective, they were good. The downside of it, though, is that going back to, was it kind of in contrast to the spirit of pickleball at the time and still what the spirit of pickleball is? Did it lead to kind of a toxic and negative competitive spirit between organizations like APP? And did it hinder other things from happening in the sport because of the fact that exclusive contracts were there? For an example, when I was working at Jigsaw, Tuesday Night Pickleball, we had the PPA All-Stars, right? Well, when that relationship went sour and they lied about a bunch of stuff and it just turned into this nasty thing, we no longer had the ability to bring in the PPA All-Stars. We pivoted and we created the Arizona Pickleball League, and it was fantastic. And I still wish it was going on. But that's another example of it. We had this incredible format with the best broadcast in pickleball history in one of the greatest indoor venues out there, and everything was set, but we couldn't touch any of those players. And that's where I think it's situations like that where it's bad. It's not helping move things forward. There's a way to be able to put limits on what your players are doing that also doesn't limit them from doing things like Quang Duong's event in Vietnam that potentially are going to grow pickleball. All it does is it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths when they hear, oh no, this player can't do that because they're signed with a contract. And Webby, you brought up the US Open as a great example, right? The UPA is, I don't know if it's well known out there, but it's known amongst the circles that I run with that there has been a long-standing negative relationship between the US Open and the UPA. And that's going to lead to them not allowing any exceptions amongst their contracts. Anna Lee was able to do it, but that's a different story. But again, that's another example of that where it's like, okay, so now if they are going to make exceptions to allow some of their players to play in some tournaments out there, there's going to be a personal feeling from some of the leaders amongst the UPA as to which ones they're going to do. So if you're an organization that maybe have butted heads with them, or maybe you feel like ethically you haven't been treated well and they retaliate against you by holding on to their players and not allowing them to be able to participate in your event, that leads to more of this stuff that I think is hindering pickleball from growing to where it needs to be and maintaining the spirit that pickleball was founded on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I couldn't agree more, actually.
So now, what can they do? Well, the other negative impact of the exclusive contracts, Webby, too, that I think we could both say is that PPA has gotten a little bit boring. It's become a glorified exhibition, right? Because there is very little incentives for some of these players to win. Now, I don't have all the stats in front of me, but I know that within the past few months, the PPA has released a different compensation structure in the future that will incentivize your results on the court to where that's going to play a larger role in your compensation. And I think if we can move in that direction, hopefully it'll mitigate the problems that led to this feeling of a glorified exhibition. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they had to do something like that. And to me, it comes across as a company that offers like a really great signing bonus. You come work for us, you're going to get this great bonus. But then once they have you, it kind of sucks there. And you're like, oh my God, I'm kind of stuck. And now PPA realizes, oh, you know what? Like, we probably should make these players actually try. Like, because we were paying them all this money just to show up. We need to make sure that they want to win. And yeah, I feel like PPA has always been really bad decision makers, and it's biting them in the ass. And I don't know. I still feel, I've said this for years, I feel like eventually everything's going to collapse for the UPA, and APP is going to swoop in, and they are going to be the one that survives and continues on and grows the sport of pickleball.
It very well could be, right? Because the APP has made their focus on, we're going to treat pros like pros, but we're going to let the results do the talking. And so they came up with like their wild cards and their compensation structure and things like that, which I think is good. But their whole approach has been, let's make this the best experience for the players. So that way we'll let the natural market, we'll let it solve itself by making it a good experience for them. And I agree. I think that strategy ultimately is going to pay off, because the last point I wanted to be able to make, the other problem with these exclusive contracts, especially with the massively inflated salaries that were paid out during the tour wars and trying to get people signed, I think that's going to ultimately lead to the demise of professional pickleball from the UPA side of things. Because if you compare still to this day, the viewership around pickleball with the salaries that are being paid to these players, it is astronomically out of proportion compared to a lot of other sports out there. And Webby, I hate making statements like that without having facts to back it up, and I don't have them in front of me right now, but I promise you I have looked at them, and I will tell you that it is way completely out of proportion. So maybe you're right. APPs in the long play, they're focusing on just making it a good experience for the players. They're letting that do the talking when it comes to people wanting to play in APP events. And they're just waiting for all this stuff over at UPA to implode.
Only time will tell, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I know when MLP and PPA, when they were separate entities and they were competing and offering these gigantic contracts, I just had a feeling back then. It was like, man, how are they possibly going to profit enough to make it worth paying these salaries for all these pro players? So I feel like within the next year or two, we'll find out if that business tactic is actually going to work or not.
Yeah, we will see. But guys, that's our opinions. We want to hear yours. Let's get a dialogue going down in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on it. Are we being too harsh, too critical on UPA? Are we putting a little bit too much stock in APP? We literally would love to hear whatever you have to say. So definitely, please throw it down in the comments below.
We love to hear the comments. We've been getting great feedback on the previous episodes. We want to keep it going. But man, this has been a super fun episode. Episode 99. I can't believe it. The next one is the big Uno 100, but we can't end episode 99 until we find out Eddie's
Closing thoughts.
So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that we aren't the only one that have these thoughts that we write in our diary after getting done playing pickleball. We also learned that Quang Duong, once again, is in trouble for breaching a contract. We talked about Quang Duong's breach of contract, his punishment from the UPA, and did it actually fit the crime? And we dug deep into the impacts of exclusive contracts in professional pickleball. Were they worth it? Well, that's going to do it for us. Episode number 99, Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. I cannot believe it, Webby.
I can't believe it either. And just to remind you all, the next episode is the big milestone 100th episode. We're doing it live at Wolverine Pickleball in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's going to be on July 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We might have some special guest appearances. I'm probably going to drink some beer from the beer tap wall. And our good friends over at Volair Pickleball are going to be giving away 3 pickleball paddles throughout the episodes. You are definitely not going to want to miss it. If you want a chance to win a Volair paddle, you got to tune in. And we will reveal during the episode how you can try to win one. But man, it is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait.
That's right. And if you want to make sure you're notified of when that's going to happen, you got to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You got to hit the little bell. And if you like the content tonight, definitely hit that like button. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.
Well, we're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh yeah.